One day, Sophie lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling and pondering the question that had been nagging at her for weeks. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl called Sophie. Sophie was a curious person and always wanted to know about anything she could ever thought of. One day, Sophie lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling and pondering the question that had been nagging at her for weeks. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Sophie had heard the phrase in a song and couldn't get it out of her head. It seemed like such a simple question, yet one that held so much mystery. As she drifted off to sleep, she found herself in a dark void, floating aimlessly. She looked around but saw nothing but darkness. It was as if she was in a dream, but she knew that she was awake. Suddenly, a voice spoke to her. "Welcome, Sophie." It said, "You have been chosen to explore the realm beyond sleep." Sophie was terrified but also curious. She had always been fascinated by the unknown, and this was an opportunity to uncover the mystery behind the question that had been haunting her. As the voice spoke, Sophie felt herself being propelled forward, deeper into the darkness. She felt weightless and free, like she was soaring through the stars. Suddenly, she found herself in a place that was both familiar and strange. It was a vast expanse of land filled with mountains and forests, rivers and ocean, but everything was different. The colors were more vibrant, the sky was more brilliant, and the air was alive with energy. Sophie explored this place for what it felt like eternity, meeting creatures she had never seen before and experienced things she had never imagined. She saw the world through new eyes, and it filled her with wonders and awe. As she journeyed deeper into the realm, she began to feel a pull, a longing to return to her own world. She knew that she couldn't stay there forever. The voice spoke to her once more. "You have seen what lies beyond sleep, Sophie. Now it is time for you to return to your own world, to share your knowledge and experience with others." Sophie awoke, gasping for breath, and sat up in bed. She looked around her room, feeling disoriented and confused. Had it all been a dream? But Sophie knew deep down that it wasn't just a dream. It was an experience that had changed her forever. She had seen what lay beyond sleep, and it had opened her eyes to a whole new world of possibilities. And she knew that she would open the rest of her life exploring that world, discovering its secrets and sharing its wonders with others. As Sophie explored the realm beyond sleep, She found that it was a place unlike any other place. The colors were more vibrant, the sky was more brilliant, and the air was alive with energy. The world around seemed to be in a constant state of flux, changing and shifting with every passing moment. She wandered through this magical land. She encountered strange and wondrous creatures that she had never seen before. They were beings made of light and danced in the air, giant creatures that roamed the forest, and even sentient clouds that spoke to her in voices that echoed through the skies. The landscape was a breathtaking tapestry of mountains and forests, rivers and ocean, all woven together in a way that defied description. The mountains were taller than any she had ever seen, reaching up to touch the stars. The forests were vast and ancient, filled with trees that whispered secrets to her as she passed by. The rivers flowed with a life force that pulls through the very earth itself, while the oceans were alive with a primal power that seemed to call out to her from across the horizon. But it was the people of this realm that fascinated Sophie the most. They were unlike any she had ever known, with a wisdom and understanding that seemed to transcend time and space. They spoke to her in a language that she couldn't understand, but their meaning was clear. They showed her things she had never seen before, opening her eyes to new possibilities and ways of beings. As Sophie wandered through this magical land, she felt a sense of awe and wonder that filled her with a deep sense of joy. She knew that this was a place that she would never forget, a place that would always be a part of her, no matter where she went or what she did. And as she returned to the waking world, she carried with her a sense of purpose and meaning that would stay with her for the rest of her life. For Sophie knew that there was more to this world than what she could see with eyes, and that the realm beyond sleep was just the beginning of a journey that would take her to places beyond her wildest dreams. While Sophie was in the realm beyond sleep, she did not hear any specific names of the creatures or beings she encountered. It was as if they communicated with her through a language beyond words, a language of feelings and impressions that she couldn't quite describe. However, Sophie felt a deep sense of connection to these beings, and in her mind, she referred to them as the light dancers, the forest whisperers, the river guardians, and the ocean watchers. She felt that these names captured the essence of what they represented to her and the role they played in the magical realm beyond sleep. It was as if these beings were an extension of the land itself, embodying the elements and forces of nature that existed in the mystical world. And while Sophie may not have known their true names, she knew that they held a special place in her heart, and that they had opened her eyes to a world of wonder and possibility that she had never known before. She began to write about her experience in the world beyond sleep. A lot of people didn't believe her tales after reading her book. Some of them believed that Sophie was possessed by a dangerous demon that may be communicable should anyone go close to her. It was a time of rejection she never wished for. Friends were now enemies because of how strange they now viewed her. She was discouraged and only wished for one thing. Sophie slept and woke up in the land of dreams and mysteries, this time no longer being curious but sad. A being approached her and asked her what was happening within her heart, and she replied, "I want to remain here." It was a word so strong that everything began to shake. The being responded, "Being here means you will be absent where you came from. Are you willing to stay here without ever returning?" "My people have rejected me," she replied, "because I decided to share the beautiful experience I had here. I am no longer welcome there, so I choose to remain here, where I am always accepted."